everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can probably see, I am not at my house. I am at my mom's visiting and getting a lot of errands done. My life is actually kind of busy and very chaotic. Not going to go into much detail at it at this moment, but I got a lot to get done. So the goal for the day is actually, while I have time today, to make a bunch of meals ahead of time for freezer meals, and so that I can just pull that out and not have to, make a meal from scratch every single night. So I'm gonna make some ahead of time. So the food I am planning on making is I'm gonna make beef stew, I'm gonna make chili, and I'm gonna make sauce. So that is the plan, and I need to get started right away because I am on a time crunch today as well. I have to be back other places at certain times. So let's get the ball rolling. My first plan is to get these onions chopped up, because onions are going to be going in every single one of my meals. So I think the first one I'm going to work on though is going to be my beef stew. So I need onion, I need potato, I need turnip, all cut up. So I'm going to grab those, and carrots as well. Everything that's chopped is just going to go right in this big roasting pan. I'm just going to go ahead and peel this turnip right over the trash can. I usually like to compost things. My mom does not have the area to put stuff to compost, so this will have to do. Everything's just gonna go right into the roasting pan to get ready to just go in the oven. Alright guys, now that we got everything in here, we got all the ingredients, quite a bit of the ingredients. We're just going to add all of our broth. We'll see how much this will take. We want it nice and full. I think I'll add one more. Perfect. We got our broth added. Now I'm going to add my secret ingredient, some lemon juice, quite a bit for how much there is. And I'm going to add quite a bit of garlic powder. Now that that's in the oven, my plan is to go right ahead and get started with both the sauce and the chili. I got more onions, and that is what I'm going to do first, is cut those up. So my plan for getting a start on both of these at once is filling the bottom of these pots with oil, getting the onions we just chopped up in with the hamburger meat, and letting that cook and brown and caramelize the onions for a little bit before we add the other necessary ingredients. For our sauce, we are going to be adding 2 cans of tomato paste, then a good amount of water. For our chili back here, we're going to start by adding a can of diced tomatoes. We're also going to add a can of paste to the chili as well. To our sauce, we're gonna do a can of whole peel tomatoes, and I just squeeze them with my hands to mush them in. I'm going to be adding some garlic powder to both of these as well. This is kind of where the differences in flavors start to happen. So usually at this point, this is when I would add beans to a chili. I'm not going to add the beans now, one, because this is kind of being made to reheat, re-prepare, and I will add the beans then. Also just because I do not have any beans today. So I added more garlic powder just now. I'm also going to be adding cumin to the chili. That gives a really nice flavor. And of course some chili powder. I'm not big with heat, so I'm gonna be kind of wimpy about the chili powder if I'm being honest. But of course that can be to your own taste, to your own heat tolerance levels. So that will get a good mix. Smells really good. Now for our sauce, I'm going to put a little more garlic powder in there as well. It is a big batch of sauce, so I don't need to feel skimpy about it. I can pretty much add a big amount. And of course, oregano. I'm just going to honestly take that off even. I need a lot of oregano for a big serving of sauce. And I'm going to mix that in. Nice. I add sugar to cut some acidity. Both of these are looking great. I'm going to turn the heat down really low on both of these and just kind of let them simmer for the time being while I clean up, because I definitely made a big mess trying to be really fast, and also I'm just kind of messy in the kitchen. It's kind of who I am, but I clean up after myself. So while these are simmering and the beef stew is in the oven, that is what I'm going to be doing really quick. So now it is time to store things up. Ideally, I would have better containers for the kind of proportions that I'd want to take out at a time for a meal. But I'm kind of working with a hodgepodge of things. I have leftover containers that my mom has from different groceries she buys, and I have some really big containers, which these will work just fine as well, except that, you know, if I wanted to take just one meals out, this might fit two, and so I'll have to deal with that, but that is all right. Not a problem. I work with what I have. So I'm gonna get the chili off first. It smells really, really good. So this is just kind of a chili base, very basic. It just has, you know, the onions, the Hamburg, some diced tomatoes, some different herbs like basil. It has garlic, of course. It has chili powder. It has cumin. And when I make this, take it out of the freezer to thaw, reheat it on the stove, I will add my beans then. So, smells so good. Ideally, also before I put these into plastic containers, I would let everything cool off completely, because I do believe that, you know, hot temperatures in plastic can leach some not so good things. But we deal with toxicity in our environment every single day from the moment we wake up and go to bed, so you gotta kind of pick your battles a little bit with that, and I'm really on a time crunch today. I really am. So I'm gonna get these in our containers. Some other tips that I have, just for the sake of cleanup tips, is I have a towel on top of the surface that I'm doing this because I know I am messy. I pour poorly sometimes, and I also start filling the pan up with water as soon as I'm done with it. That way it'll prevent, stuff being stuck on when I'm going to do dishes. Now we got our sauce here, and that is gonna have to go in this big container. I made quite a lot. Hopefully, maybe when I get back home. Oh, perfect. That fits perfectly in that big container. Possibly when I get back home, I can split this into some smaller containers before I put it in the freezer. That way I don't have to take a whole bunch of sauce out at once. But even if I do have to, it's not that big of a deal because I can keep it in the fridge after it's thawed out. That's really good. But I can take it in the fridge after it's thawed out and only pour how much I'll need for that night into the pot that I use to warm it up. So really not a huge deal either way. So we got 2 8-ounce containers of chili, and we got 1 big, humongous, I guess it's not humongous, but thing of sauce. And now I'm gonna check on the beef stew in the oven. That is looking good. So I am gonna give it some time to cool off because it just came out of the oven. Definitely don't wanna put that right into plastic if I can help it, which I can. I have a little bit of time due to how much I was rushing, but that'll be good. All right, so it cooled for a little while. Ideally, I would have it cool more, but what I'm going to do is use my ladle to scoop it in opposed to trying to pour this in. I just can see that going not great for me. And another thing with any of these recipes that you go ahead and make beforehand to put in the fridge or the freezer, you don't have to worry about getting it cooked all the way because our plan is to kind of remake it, reheat it up anyway, so it'll have to go on the stove or in the oven. And in that case, at that time, you can then go ahead and cook it fully. So I think you could probably see, maybe you can't from where you are, but the meat is not cooked as much as I would want to be if I was gonna, actually serve this right now. And if I was to guess, the veggies are probably a little harder than I would want as well. But that is just fine because when I decide to have this some night, I will put it in and then cook it all the way so I don't have to worry about it. Now that I took a lot of the weight out, I might just go ahead and try to dump it in. Look how much beef stew that made us. Oh my goodness. So we will be good to go with that for a good long while. Fantastic. So that is gonna do it for me, other than, packing it up into a bag for me to then bring back home, and then of course putting it away in the freezer. But I hope you enjoyed doing that with me. And honest to goodness, let me think, that took less than an hour and a half to make all those meals prepped to make it so much easier so that I won't have to, start a meal completely from scratch on busy nights. And I also, in that amount of time, got a shower. I don't know if you can tell, I have freshly washed hair. Got a shower and finished 2 loads of laundry. I'm sure you can hear the washer and dryer in the background. So that just goes to show, I know every single one of us has busy times in life, and my goal, at least, to share is, slowing it down and being able to live a slower and more simple life. But that takes some prep sometimes. That takes some understanding of what chapter you are in your life, what season of life you're in. And the season I'm in right now is honestly going to be one of the busiest that I've had yet. So knowing this ahead of time, I decided to make future me's life a little bit easier and get some of this work done while I have time. So I hope for you, whatever season you may be in your life right now, you can take some inspiration from this and know that it doesn't have to make it stressful. You can just kind of think ahead and really help yourself to continue to live as happily as you can and with as little stress as you can, and just make the best out of whatever situation you're in right now. And that doesn't mean alleviate it by, having to go get, takeout, which can be expensive, or, pre-made freezer meals you can get at the store, which have all kinds of yuck in them. You can still be towards this lifestyle that you want to be in, but, take some of the pressure off when you need to. So that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed and like to see other videos like this in the future, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely see you soon. Let me know anything else you might want to know or learn, and I will see you back here very soon. Alright, take care and have a lovely rest of your day. See ya!